Hello, and welcome to this demonstration of Hazmat University online training. The Bureau of Dangerous Goods has been providing quality dangerous goods training, software, and consulting services for over 35 years. Our self-paced online training at Hazmat University is curated by regulatory and dangerous goods industry specialists. Safety and compliance with the regulations are our top priorities when educating shippers, freight forwarders, operators, and handlers of dangerous goods. On our website, in the Courses section, you will find a complete list of course offerings, including information to help you select the online courses that fit your training needs. Note that all of our course offerings are designed to run on laptop and desktop computers, tablets, and even smartphones, anywhere there is access to the web. We invite you now to view our demo for a glimpse of our comprehensive and easy-to-follow training courses. Here we show excerpts from topics covered in our air, ground, vessel, and lithium batteries training courses. Before we begin, note that though this is a demo, it uses real content from the courses you can purchase. While you can view the entire demonstration without touching a key, you may want to try out some of the navigation features to see how they work. These include the ability to use the menu on the left to select a topic, the forward and back arrows to move between lesson slides, and a seek bar which allows you to move within a slide to get to a specific point. So, let's go ahead and get started. You are now in the Classification Dangerous Goods training module. Class 1, Explosives. Class 1 is assigned to explosives. Explosives are typically restricted for transport, which means that only those listed in the dangerous goods list may be accepted for transport. Definitions and general provisions are contained in Chapter 2.1 of the regulations. Class 1 comprises explosive substances except those that are too dangerous to transport, or those where the predominant hazard is one appropriate to another class. Note that a substance which is not itself an explosive, but which can form an explosive atmosphere of gas, vapor, or dust, is not included in this Class 1. Explosive articles, except devices containing explosive substances in such quantity or of such a character that their inadvertent or accidental ignition or initiation during transport shall not cause any effect external to the device either by projection, fire, smoke, heat, or loud noise. And substances and articles not mentioned previously which are manufactured for the purpose of producing a practical, explosive, or pyrotechnic effect. Class 2.1 is assigned to flammable gases. Flammable gases are defined as gases which at 20 degrees Celsius and a standard pressure of 101.3 kilopascals are ignitable when in a mixture of 13% or less by volume with air, or have a flammability range with air of at least 12 percentage points regardless of the lower flammability limit. Flammability shall be determined by tests or calculation in accordance with the methods adopted by the International Organization for Standardization. Where insufficient data are available to use these methods, test by a comparable method recognized by the national competent authority may be used. An example of a Class 2.1 flammable gas is butane, UN 1011. Class 2.2 is assigned to non-flammable, non-toxic gases, which are asphyxiant. These are gases which dilute or replace the oxygen normally in the atmosphere. Are oxidizing. These are gases which may, generally by providing oxygen, cause or contribute to the combustion of other material more than air does. The oxidizing ability shall be determined by tests or by calculation in accordance with methods adopted by the International Organization for Standardization. Or, do not fall under other classes. An example of a Class 2.2 non-flammable gas would be helium, compressed, UN 1046. Gases of Class 2.2 are not subject to the provisions of the IMDG code if they are transported at a pressure of less than 200 kilopascals at 20 degrees Celsius and are not liquefied or refrigerated liquefied gases. Gases of Class 2.2 are not subject to the provisions of the IMDG code when contained in the following: foodstuffs, except UN 1950, including carbonated beverages, balls intended for use in sports, and tires, except for air transport. Class 2.3 is assigned to toxic gases, which are known to be so toxic to humans as to pose a hazard to health, or are presumed to be toxic to humans because they have an LC50 value equal to or less than 5,000 milliliters per cubic meter, or ppm. An example of a Class 2.3 toxic gas is chlorine, UN 1017. The IMDG code covers the classification criteria for mixtures of gases, including vapors of substances from other classes, in Section 2.2.3. Note that when using the IMDG code for shipments being transported to, from, or within the United States, there are additional U.S. requirements applicable to materials that are poisonous by inhalation, including assignment of a hazard zone A, B, C, or D, and the display of the words poison, inhalation hazard, or toxic, inhalation hazard. These requirements are found in 49 CFR 171.23 B10. Class 3. Flammable liquids. The definition for materials assigned to Class 3 is found in Chapter 2.3 of the IMDG Code. Class 3 is assigned to flammable liquids and includes flammable liquids and liquid desensitized explosives. Flammable liquids are liquids, or mixtures of liquids, or liquids containing solids in solution or suspension, which give off a flammable vapor at or below 60 degrees Celsius closed cup test, or 65.6 degrees Celsius open cup test, normally referred to as the flash point. Included in this class are materials such as paints, varnishes, lacquers, etc. Not included in this class are substances which, on account of their other dangerous characteristics, have been included in other classes. Class 3 also includes liquids offered for transport at temperatures at or above their flash point, and substances transported or offered for transport at elevated temperatures and a liquid state, which give off a flammable vapor at temperatures equal to or below the maximum transport temperature. An example of a Class 3 flammable liquid is gasoline, UN 1203. Liquid desensitized explosives are explosive substances which are dissolved or suspended in water or other liquid substances to form a homogeneous liquid mixture to suppress their explosive properties. Entries in the dangerous goods list for liquid desensitized explosives are UN 1204, nitroglycerin solution in alcohol with not more than 1% nitroglycerin. UN 2059, nitrocellulose solution, flammable, with not more than 12.6 nitrogen by dry mass, and not more than 55% nitrocellulose. UN 3064, nitroglycerin solution in alcohol, with more than 1% but not more than 5% nitroglycerin. UN 3343, nitroglycerin mixture, desensitized, liquid, flammable, NOS, with no more than 30% nitroglycerin by mass. UN 3357, nitroglycerin mixture desensitized, liquid, NOS, with not more than 30% nitroglycerin by mass. And UN 3379, desensitized explosive, liquid, NOS. Class 3 flammable liquids are assigned to Packaging Group 1, Packaging Group 2, or Packaging Group 3, representing their degree of danger. Table 2.3.2.6 of the IMDG Code provides Packaging Group assignment criteria for Class 3 flammable liquids. A flammable liquid meeting the hazard class criteria of Class 3 and having an initial boiling point less than or equal to 35 degrees Celsius is assigned to Packaging Group 1. Packaging Group 2 is assigned to flammable liquids having a flash point of less than 23 degrees Celsius and an initial boiling point of greater than 35 degrees Celsius. Packaging Group 3 is assigned to flammable liquids having a flash point equal to or greater than 23 degrees Celsius, but equal to or less than 60 degrees Celsius, and an initial boiling point of greater than 35 degrees Celsius. The IMDG Code provides acceptable methods for determining the flash point of flammable liquids in paragraph 2.3.3.6, and acceptable methods for determining initial boiling points in section 2.3.4. You are now in the Identification Hazardous Materials training module. Column 3, Class, Division. Column 3 contains either the primary hazard class or division for a material, or it may contain the word forbidden if the material is forbidden for transport. Column 4, Identification Number. Column 4 contains the identification number assigned to the proper shipping name. Those preceded by the letters UN are appropriate for international and domestic transportation. Those preceded by the letters NA are associated with proper shipping names not recognized for international transportation, except to and from Canada. Column 5, Packing Group. Column 5 contains one or more packing groups assigned to that material. Note that not all hazardous materials are assigned to packing groups. For example, articles are not assigned to packing groups, nor are a few other hazard classes or divisions. If you'll remember, packing groups indicate a degree of danger and are shown as Roman numerals. Packing Group 1 indicates great danger, Packing Group 2 indicates medium danger, and Packing Group 3 indicates minor danger. Column 6, Labels. Column 6 contains the hazard label code to be applied to each package or overpack for the material identified in Column 2 unless otherwise accepted. The hazard labels are listed by hazard class number or division, such as 8 or 6.1. And, where there is more than one label listed, it means that the substance or article has one or more subsidiary hazards. The primary hazard will be listed first, and any subsidiary hazards will be listed after. Column 7, Special Provisions. Column 7 lists special provisions which are associated with the material named in Column 2, and which are shown as applicable to a particular packing group entry, where multiple packing groups are assigned. Special provisions that are indicated by a number only are applicable for all modes of transportation and may apply to bulk and non-bulk packaging. When the number is preceded by a letter, it means that the special provision will apply to the specific mode of transportation or the type of packaging. Special provisions can be found in Section 172.102 of 49 CFR. You are now in the Documentation Dangerous Goods training module. In this module, we will learn about the required documentation for shipments of dangerous goods, shippers' responsibilities for documenting shipments of dangerous goods, the required form to be used for declaration of dangerous goods, the number of copies and the retention times for dangerous goods documents, requirements regarding any alterations and amendments being made to the form, and the signature required to be included on the shipper's declaration form. In addition, we will take you through a step-by-step approach in completing the shipper's declaration form. You will be able to accurately fill out this form and submit it to your carrier of choice. We are now entering what IATA calls the second sequence of information, and they title it Number and Type of Packagings, Quantity of Dangerous Goods. You'll find this described in sub-paragraph 8.1.6.9.2, and on your shipper's declaration of dangerous goods, we'll be working in the column titled Quantity and Type of Packaging. Entering the quantity and type of packaging is pretty straightforward. Enter the number and type of packaging for each of the goods that we're shipping, and the net quantity of dangerous goods contained in each package. UN packaging codes may only be used to supplement the description of the type of packaging used, and are not required to be shown. In our example, we are shipping one fiberboard box containing 4 liters of isobutylamine, so in this column we will show 1 fiberboard box times 4 liters. If we had, for example, 6 identical packages containing 4 liters of isobutylamine, we would show 6 fiberboard boxes times 4 liters. If we are shipping multiple packages containing different quantities of the same dangerous good, they must be clearly identified, such as 4 fiberboard boxes times 4 liters, and below this, 2 fiberboard boxes times 3 liters. Where the letter G follows the quantity permitted in a limited quantity package, as shown in column H of the list of dangerous goods, we have to show the gross weight of each package rather than the net quantity, and when we do that, the capital letter G must be added following the unit of measurement. It is important to know that types and quantities of inner packagings are never required to be shown, only the number and types of outer packagings and the total quantity contained in each. Paragraph 8.1.6.9.2 also contains specific information as to how the quantity must be indicated for a few other specific commodities, such as empty uncleaned packaging, dangerous goods in machinery or apparatus, and chemical kits or first aid kits. It also states that for explosives of Class 1, the net quantity indicated must be supplemented with the quantity representing the net explosive mass contained in the package. Here we see how the nature and quantity of dangerous goods would appear on a computer-generated declaration form. In accordance with 8.1.6.10, the sequences of information must be indicated either by using two diagonal strokes as a separator between the sequences or by putting each sequence on a separate line. We are now moving to the bottom part of the shipper's declaration for dangerous goods, and we're at the section titled Additional Handling Information, as explained in the IATA DGR subparagraph 8.1.6.11. Any pertinent additional handling information may be entered in this area of the form. There are a number of state and operator variations that are listed here as part of the regulations, and you'll want to check each and every one of those if you're shipping to any one of those countries or using any one of those operators that are listed. Here in the United States, we must refer to USG-12. If you go to the state variations and you look up USG-12, you'll see that in the additional handling information box, we have to list an emergency contact phone number. It says for shipments to, from, within, or transiting within the U.S., emergency response information must be provided for all dangerous goods other than magnetized material. This variation states that the shipper's declaration for dangerous goods required by these regulations must include an emergency response telephone number, including area codes, and for international numbers located outside the U.S., country and city codes needed to complete the call from the U.S. for use in the event of an incident involving the dangerous goods. The number must be monitored at all times while the dangerous goods are in transportation, including storage incident to transportation, by a person who is knowledgeable of the hazards and characteristics of dangerous goods being transported, has a comprehensive emergency response and accident mitigation information for the dangerous goods, or has immediate access to a person who possesses such knowledge and information. This requirement is detailed in 49 CFR Section 172.604 and states that the telephone number entered must be for the person offering the hazardous material for transportation when that person is also the emergency response information provider. In cases where a third-party service, such as Chemtrek, is contracted to provide the emergency response information, the name or contract number of the person subscribing to the service must be shown in association with the telephone number, unless the name of the subscriber is prominently indicated elsewhere on the declaration, for example, as the indicated shipper on the form. The shipper is responsible to ensure that any third party being used is in possession of the appropriate emergency response information for the shipment. There are a few mandatory requirements for additional handling information entries related to specific commodities, and these are also shown in 8.1.6.11. Additionally, some special provisions may require specific handling statements to be shown. Right below the additional handling information box, you'll see a statement that says, "I hereby declare that the contents of this consignment are fully and accurately described above by the proper shipping name, and are classified, packaged, marked and labeled or placarded, and are in all respects in proper condition for transport according to applicable international and national governmental regulations. I declare that all of the applicable air transport requirements have been met." This certification statement is typically pre-printed on shipper's declaration forms that you buy from commercial vendors, but it is required to be on the form. You'll find that in subparagraph 8.1.6.12. Just to the right of the certification statement, you'll find a box containing the name of the signatory and the date, and there will be a place for a signature. On the first line, the name of the person signing the form should be entered, printed, or stamped. In the date section, we are to enter the date of signing the declaration form. Below that is probably the most important part of the declaration, the signature. We have to sign the document in order for the shipment to move through the transport chain. Shown here is an example of how the completed shipper's declaration for dangerous goods would appear. Paragraph 8.2.1 requires that an air waybill accompanying a dangerous goods consignment for which a dangerous goods declaration is required must include the following statements as applicable in the handling information box. Dangerous goods as per attached shipper's declaration, or abbreviated to dangerous goods as per attached DGD, and, if applicable, cargo aircraft only, or abbreviated to CAO. No further abbreviation of these statements may be applied. Subsection 8.2 also outlines the requirements for mixed shipments in paragraph 8.2.2, when a shipper's declaration is not required, in paragraph 8.2.3. Dry ice as a refrigerant for dangerous goods, in paragraph 8.2.4. Accepted quantities in paragraph 8.2.5, and not restricted goods in 8.2.6. Example illustrations of various air waybill entries are provided in figures 8.2.A through 8.2.G. Welcome to the Dangerous Goods Lithium Batteries Training Module. We have two important terms to discuss: batteries and cells. A cell is a single encased electrochemical unit having one positive and one negative electrode, which exhibits a voltage differential across its two terminals. In other words, it is a source of electrical power. For the purposes of the regulations, when a cell meets the definition of a cell as we just discussed, it is referred to as a cell and not a battery, even though it may be referred to elsewhere as a battery or single-cell battery. A battery is comprised of two or more cells which are electrically connected by permanent means, including the case, terminals, and markings. Units which are commonly referred to as battery packs, modules, or battery assemblies, and which have the primary function of providing a source of power to another piece of equipment, are also, for regulatory purposes, referred to as batteries. Shown here are the applicable entries for lithium batteries in the 49 CFR Hazardous Materials Table. Like all entries in the 49 CFR Hazardous Materials Table, there are columns which contain additional information for classification, identification numbers, packing groups, label codes, special provisions, packaging, quantity limitations for aircraft and rail, and vessel stowage. Note that there are not any entries in the packing group column because, like all other articles, lithium batteries are not assigned to packing groups. Let's go through an example. Suppose we were shipping lithium metal batteries contained in equipment. Looking through the table, we would find the appropriate row in the table. Moving to the right, we find in column 3 the hazard class, which is 9. Continuing to the next column, column 4, we find the UN identification number, which in this case is UN 3091. Moving to column 5, we see that the packing group is blank, since packing groups are not applicable to lithium batteries. Next, in column 6, we see the number 9, indicating that when a hazard label is required on the package, the Class 9 label will be used. In column 7, we see a number of special provisions listed. Those that have an A prefix refer to air transportation and will not apply to our shipment. We will need to reference special provisions 181 and 422 to see if they are applicable to our shipment. Column 8 tells us where to find the appropriate packaging information. We are reminded in the column header that, as for all hazardous materials, this information is contained in Part 173. This column is divided into 3 subcolumns: 8A for exceptions, 8B for non-bulk packagings, and 8C for bulk packaging. As you can see, all 3 columns say 185, which means that the packaging authorization to be followed is in 173.185. Next, column 9 gives us the per package quantity limits in column 9A for passenger aircraft or passenger carrying rail car, and in column 9B for cargo aircraft only. Column 9 also indicates the additional information regarding these limitations may be found in 173.27 and 175.75. For the purposes of this example, we will ignore column 9 in its entirety, as it is not applicable to highway transport. Column 10 refers to vessel stowage rules, which are not applicable to highway transport. Here are examples of the marks and labels required for ground transport. Packages containing lithium batteries that do not meet the definition of a smaller battery as stated in 173.185C must display the Class 9 lithium battery hazard label, as well as the UN number assigned to the battery being shipped, the proper shipping name, and the consignee's or consignor's name and address, unless otherwise accepted. Each package containing small lithium batteries, prepared in accordance with Section 173.185C, must display the lithium battery mark, except where a package contains button cell batteries installed in equipment, including circuit boards, or no more than 4 lithium cells or 2 lithium batteries contained in equipment, where there are not more than 2 packages in the consignment. Where there are asterisks shown on the example mark, the following must be indicated. Where 1 asterisk is shown, the UN number associated with the lithium batteries contained in the package. And where 2 asterisks are shown, a telephone number from which additional information regarding the shipment may be obtained. Where a package contains lithium cells or batteries assigned to different UN numbers, all applicable UN numbers must be indicated on 1 or more marks. The dimensions of the package must be large enough to accommodate the entire mark on one side. Where the dimensions of the package cannot accommodate the full-size mark, a reduced size mark may be applied in accordance with Section 173.185 C3(1)A. Where a shipper's declaration is required, information must be entered in the nature and quantity of dangerous goods section. In this example, we see that we are shipping UN 3090 lithium metal batteries, hazard class 9. The shipment consists of 2 fiberboard boxes, each containing a net quantity of 3 kilograms, and it was packed under Packing Instruction 968. Note that a 24-hour emergency response telephone number must be included on the shipper's declaration form. Exams are part of the course to help test the student's knowledge of the subject. Exam questions typically have true or false, multiple choice, or multiple response answers. After the Submit button has been pressed, the exam is immediately graded. Pass or fail, the system returns a result screen, telling the student the graded score, indicating if the student passed or failed the exam. The student is given the option to click on the Review Exam button, which allows the student to see each question and the answer entered, and whether the answer is correct or incorrect. The student can retake the exam until a passing grade is achieved. Because the lesson is separated from the exam, the user can go back to the corresponding lesson to review a particular part of the lesson before taking the exam again. Finally, after the course is completed, which means that for all modules of the course, each lesson has been viewed and the exam has been passed, the student may download or email the certificate. To obtain the certificate, the student simply selects the method of delivery, download or view, or email, and clicks on the Get Certificate button. After submitting the request, the certificate is immediately generated. Shown here is a sample certificate produced. Thank you for viewing our demo. We're looking forward to providing you with the tools you need to be confident, competent, and compliant when handling dangerous goods. You will find useful information on our website, including all course offerings, an informative Hazmat news and information section, and much more. If you have any questions about any courses, or need assistance in ordering, or with anything else related to Hazmat, please call or contact us.